It's Jess.
It is Monday morning. No, I'm not wearing any makeup. And I'm on the way to a clinic because I'm gonna get an IUD. And I'm pretty nervous. I've looked up what it's gonna be like online and how to prepare yourself, but it's not stopping me from being ridiculously nervous. And on top of that, I didn't have anybody to go with me today, so I'm hoping that this pinching pain that everyone's talking about isn't too intense. I can still drive myself home. But I wanted to make this video because there's a lot of stigma around women's birth control in general, but especially ones that are most effective for some reason. And I just wanted to share my kind of raw experience with how it's going and some reasons behind why I've specifically chosen an IUD. Been thinking about it for a lot of years. About 4 years, roughly a presidential election ago. But I'm finally able to get an appointment with them, and so I'm on my way.
How are you?
All right, ready?
Note to self, wear warmer clothes when you go. It's gonna hurt a hell of a lot more than you think. Bring some tissues, wear underwear so you can put on a pad afterwards. Maybe bring one of those hot coal squishy things that you can tape to your belly that'll help with making it warm to help with the pain. Or a sweater, it's very cold. Don't take off your socks, you will freeze. Definitely take 800 milligram ibuprofen before you go. Bring Tylenol with you as well. That was like one of the most painful experiences I've ever had in my life. I couldn't feel my hands. I'm in like so much pain, not just from the cramping, but just all over from like tensing so hard. So it's still cramping. So they told me that since my cervix was closed, because I've never had a baby, thank God, cervix was closed, so they had to dilate it a little bit to put the IUD in. Dear God, if I couldn't handle that, there's no way I could have handled anything else going through that hole. I could see the fucking light. I almost blacked out, I think. Now I'm gonna go home, finish this video, put hot things all over my back and stomach, put a timer for medication, drink some tea, and fucking not move for like 2 days. Okay, it took me a little bit to walk to my car, like a person with a cantaloupe in between their legs. Okay, I'm gonna drive myself home. Well, actually, I'm gonna stop by the pharmacy real quick and get some pads because I don't think I have any at home because I can't use a tampon. So I'm gonna go do that real quick and then we'll be home. I just got home. I stopped by the CVS to get some pads and some cleansing wipes. Got home, I put on some underwear, put those things on, here with my ibuprofen and a hot heating pad and some water, and I'm not gonna move most of the day other than to eat and use the restroom. So they gave me this pamphlet about the IUD that I chose, which is Mirena. it just kind of tells you how it's placed, how to check, make sure it's there. They have my next appointment written in here, which is 3 months from now, to go in and get a checkup. But basically what happened was this. So super nervous about it. I did as much research as I could, and concluded to take 800 milligrams an hour before I arrived, 30 minutes to an hour before I arrived, so it would have time to kick in. They had you go in, you take they take a urine sample, and then you go into the room, and you strip from the waist down, and you sit on this bed with a sheet over the top of you. They come in, they explain what it is that your chosen IUD does for you, how they place it. They ask you if you have any questions. I asked, you know, like if I could use a tampon afterwards. They said no, just use a pad for a couple of days. And they said the same thing about any intimacy with your partners, that you should wait between 3 to 7 days. One, because you're sore. You're gonna be really sore. And two, because they have to dilate your cervix to put the IUD in. And because I've never had children, it was closed, so they had to manually dilate it. And for my followers who have had children, I could not survive actual childbirth. I don't think I would stay conscious. I could like see a blinding light while they were doing it. It was, anyways, so they go over and they use like forceps to open the area, and then they use a whole bunch of utensils and tools that I didn't see because my eyes were closed, and I was trying to focus on breathing, and it was like the pregnancy breathing where it's for a while. I was trying to, hey, not yours. I was trying to breathe through it, and then every now and then I would be wincing in pain, try to breathe slowly, breathe in and out slowly. And after a while of what felt like forever of them doing this, it started to get more intense pressure. It felt like a needle was being pushed up through the cervix, and which probably was some sort of utensil like that. But it was, I mean, I was like shaking and tensing myself up so hard I couldn't feel any of my arms, all of this. And I kept trying to relax and move my hands around, and I could not feel my arms. And my legs started shaking in the stirrup things that you have to put your legs in. And I just started like hyperventilating almost, and panicking, and I started crying. And this lady was like rubbing my knee, like telling me I was doing good, like it was okay, we're almost done. And I couldn't focus on anything. My eyes were shut so tight. I kept trying to open my eyes to like stare at the ceiling, but my eyes, I just kept shutting them so tight, and just piercing pain. And then it would subside a little bit, and then more piercing pain. And when I went in this morning, I actually grind my teeth at night, and my jaw was locked from grinding my teeth and being so nervous over the night of sleeping that it was hard for me to eat breakfast this morning. But when I was done, my jaw was done, because I guess I was tensing so hard that it kind of just fixed itself. And then whenever they were moving everything around down there, they started to use an ultrasound to make sure that they could see that it was in the right place. And when they were pressing the ultrasound with that jelly stuff down on my lower abdomen, they were pressing down where my pain was, so that wasn't fun either. And they were moving it around to make sure that it was in the right place. And then they had to readjust it on the inside, so it was all that pain all over again. Like, I was starting to like hyperventilate. I felt like I was gonna pass out. And then suddenly everything was just like, everything was out all at the same time. And I couldn't stop crying, and they were like, it's okay, everything's done, no more things are going to touch you, you're fine, you're gonna be fine. So they helped me move myself back up, because I had to be on the very edge of the table like this, so that my legs were this way and my pelvic bone was right on this edge of the table. So they helped me move myself back up, and I was just experiencing the most intense cramping that I've ever had. Now, when I cramp, it feels like a knife is being shoved up on the inside of my uterus, and then I am paralyzed like for a couple of seconds before it subsides. But this, I just couldn't move. My legs were shaking, but my arms, suddenly I could feel my arms again, which was really strange. And then they showed me she tried to show me what the strings are gonna look like, because there's little strings that hang out of the bottom part of the cervix. The doctor can check and see that they're in the right spot, that they haven't moved, to make sure the IUD is in the right spot. She tried to like show them to me, but I was just not really there. I mean, I remember her showing me something, but I wanted to like feel them to see what they felt like. I didn't get a chance to feel them, so I'm gonna have to look that up online. But they gave me some Kleenex, and they helped me kind of sit up, and they gave me a pad and some cleansing wipes, and they said when I was ready that I could clean up and put a pad on. But I was just sitting there for a while trying to breathe through it, and I kept like hyperventilating and then trying to calm down, and kept crying out of nowhere. Like, it was just kind of traumatic. And the nurse came in and she brought me some water and some Tylenol. So I was on 800 milligram ibuprofen, and she also gave me Tylenol. And I was sitting there for a while, and then I composed myself enough to get up and put my clothes back on use the cleansing wipes and the pad, and put on my sweater because I was freaking cold. Put my leggings back on, and I was on my phone trying to distract myself, like on Instagram. I texted my sister. My boyfriend was checking up on me, and the nurse or the doctor finally came in and said that I could, if I was all right, I wasn't dizzy, that I could come out and check out at the nurse's desk. So I did, but most intense pain I think I've ever felt. Like, for me, I think it would go IUD insertion, wisdom teeth removal surgery, and then my back surgery that I had. But my lower back surgery I was on a lot of medication, and I was under for the whole time, so I couldn't feel anything. And then when I went home, I was still on a lot of medication. So, I mean, before I went into surgery for that, I was really uncomfortable all the time, and I would start crying sometimes from the pain. But this level of pain was just the most pain I've ever felt, which is probably just a sliver of what it's like to have childbirth. So I'm all set. So this specific brand of birth control lasts for 5 years, which is awesome. So it looks like this little tiny plastic shape of a uterus thing, and they insert it. Apparently it's flexible, so they could move it around. Did not feel like it was flexible. I felt like everything was being squished open. That's what it looks like once they put it up inside your uterus. It goes in right there. It tells you how to make sure that it's still in place, and everything like that. Tells you how it works. Fascinating information up in there. But I was going to talk about the reason I wanted to get an IUD. So when I first started taking birth control, when I was in my early 20s, I just got free birth control from Planned Parenthood, and I was taking that for a while, but my hormones were really crazy, and I was really sad and depressed all the time. So I went back to the doctor, and I told her what kind of birth control I was on, and she said that she was going to give me the lowest dose birth control that she could find, which is called low estrogen Phe. And I've been on that for 3.5, 4-ish, 5 maybe years. And it stops your period, which is basically what happens, which is super convenient for me. You still get some of the sharp pains, the bloating, some of the mood swings, but it stops your period, which is the thing I loved most. But it was getting really annoying to need to take it every morning at the same time. Some mornings I would forget. I was still really paranoid about any accidents, so about 4 years ago, I went on Amazon and bought a whole bunch of generic Plan B, but those have since been used up because of paranoia for things that could have happened, and I just don't want any slip-ups. My life, the way that I want it is about enjoying myself and my friends and with my boyfriend and having a career at some point and focusing on taking care of myself. And I don't believe that I'm going to be the kind of person that wants to have a child, which is fine. There's hundreds of thousands of women every week that are having kids or making decisions to have kids, and that's perfectly well and good. I'm glad for you. For those of you who have been planning for it, I'm glad for you. For those who weren't planning for it but are very excited about it, I'm happy for you too. But just for me, I just am not in that mindset to have kids. I don't believe we're in a world right now that is very safe for women in general, but also that the direction that this world is going is going to become more and more difficult for women to have preventative health care, because a lot of society is very closed-minded and don't understand the importance of women's health care. So while I still can, and while my insurance covers it and doctors are able to do it for me, I have decided to get an IUD. Now, I know we're fighting very hard for a better world and for the change that we want to instill in the world, but for the next 5 years I won't have to worry about it, which is just so relieving to me. So I have my checkup in 3 months, and we're going to see how I am adjusting to it, how the hormones are reacting with my body, how I'm feeling and everything like that. They said to expect some spotting and some cramping every now and then from it, but that ibuprofen is fine. You can take some Tylenol. I'm done taking the other birth control. I can actually turn that alarm off on my phone. I don't have to worry about taking it anymore. Anyways, I thought it was really important to have this information out there. I didn't actually look up to see if there were any other videos of people talking about getting an IUD, but this is now one of them. So that was my experience with it. It was excruciatingly painful and extremely nerve-wracking, but for the next 5 years I don't have to worry about it, and I'm really glad of that. Anyways, I put out new videos every Monday, and sometimes it's personal, sometimes it's a vlog, or it's funny, it's entertaining. This was extremely personal, but I felt like the information needed to be out there. Make sure to give that like and subscribe button a 1-2 punch, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!